The code pager went off in the middle of a coffee Rowan Hale didn't intend to pay for. He limped toward the ed bay like a man politely late to his own intervention, cane clicking a syncopation the residents had learned to fear. 17-year-old female, ed attending Diaz briefed without preamble. Name: Lila Novak. Collapsed during rehearsal. Temp 38.8 degrees Celsius, HR 126, BP 9258. Confused, combative, intermittent aphasia. Mom says, healthy. Labs: mild transaminitis, AST 184, ALT 201, indirect hyperbilirubinemia, CRP 18, ammonia normal. CT head clean. LP deferred. She bit the intern. Excellent, Rowan said, eyes bright with the joy of a puzzle that had teeth. If the patient fights you, at least she cares. A bow case lay on the gurney beside the girl. She stared past the fluorescence as if the ceiling had whispered something she disagreed with. When the nurse tried a sternal rub, Lila swatted her hand away and muttered in a slurry half-melody. B-flat, wrong key. Rowan planted the cane and glanced at his team. Kirasio, neurologist who tolerated no poetry, Sanjay Patel, immunology fellow with a collection of pastel socks and an inconvenient conscience, and Harper Quinn, intensivist, chronically spreadsheeted, the only one who could make Rowan shut up by using his first name in full. Differential, he said. Viral encephalitis, Kira started. HSV. Fever, confusion. Get an MRI, start acyclovir. Sepsis with delirium, Harper said. Hypotension, tachycardia. Source unclear. Broad-spectrum ABX, fluids. Autoimmune encephalitis, Sanjay added. Teen female, psychosis, language disturbance. Rowan looked pleased and bored. All excellent guesses from textbooks you loved more than your family's. What about toxins? Mushrooms busking outside conservatories? Designer GABA agonists disguised as performance teas. Lila jackknifed up, eyes wide. Don't touch my hands, she whispered, clutching her fingers the way a violinist clutches a career. Her mother, Anya, appeared in the doorway with a tote bag of emergency snacks and an expression that dared reality to blink first. She practices 6 hours a day, Anya said. Auditions next month. She was fine. Everyone is fine, Rowan said, until they aren't. Any meds? Supplements? Boyfriends with YouTube degrees? No, Anya snapped. We take vitamins. Magnesium for cramps. Milk thistle because my cousin said. Liver numbers, Kira murmured. Rowan's cane tapped twice. Admit to neuro ICU. Start acyclovir and ceftriaxone. Empiric antiepileptics. EEG. MRI brain with and without. Draw an autoimmune encephalitis panel. And since I'm cursed with curiosity, get a slit lamp exam. Kaiser-Fleischer rings would be a terrible plot twist. Harper frowned. Wilson's? Copper overload at 17, with psych and liver? Rare. Rare is just a diagnosis someone else missed, Rowan said. And arrange the LP when she's less dental. They wheeled Lila away, bouquets bouncing on the rails like a metronome giving up. By evening, the MRI was clean. EEG showed diffuse slowing with occasional rhythmic delta, no focal seizure activity. LP finally obtained. Normal opening pressure, clear fluid, mild lymphocytic pleocytosis, protein slightly elevated, glucose normal. HSV PCR pending. Cultures pending. Autoimmune panels sent off to the faraway lab where diagnoses go to spend 2 weeks learning to be dramatic. In the glass-walled conference room, Harper poured bad coffee and better judgment. Vitals stabilized with fluids, still febrile. She's alternately mute and oppositional. We're burning daylight. Rowan drummed fingers on the table. The violin case. What's in it? Violin, Sanjay said, confused. Brilliant, Rowan deadpanned. What's the violin made of? Old varnish can contain heavy metals. Musicians lick fingers. Sweat transfers. Chronic exposure fits liver. Neurologic signs. Personality change. Our girl might be poisoned by 18th century elegance. Kira rolled her eyes. You want talk screens for lead and, what, thallium? This isn't a Cold War novel. Rowan smiled. Not thallium. It's tasteless drama. But check it. Check copper, ceruloplasmin, 24-hour urine copper. And ask if her family keeps strange pets. Reptiles. Exotic fish. Blue-ringed octopus named Kevin. Why? Because weird hobbies kill prodigies and make great M&M conferences. Harper closed the laptop with a sigh. Order the tests. In sleep, Rowan. Sleep is an overrated biomarker of compassion, he said, and limped back toward the ICU. Lila's eyes tracked him through the glass. For a moment, they focused as if the ceiling had shut up. Do you play? She asked. I diagnose, he said. Same thing, she murmured and fell asleep. Outside, the hospital clicked through its night shift rituals. Vending machines humming hymns to sodium, elevators confessing with dings, the smell of antiseptic optimism. In a lab plate somewhere, a culture made a decision. And in a drawer, sealed in satin, a violin carried a century's worth of secrets to morning. At rounds, Lila hallucinated a metronome. Stop the ticking, she begged, hands over ears. It's not in time. Rigidity? Kira tested tone. She's developing orofacial dyskinesias. Tongue thrusting. Could be meds, Harper said. Levetiracetam can make anyone's mood a playground. We can adjust. Or anti-NMDA receptor encephalitis, Sanjay said. Orofacial dyskinesias, psychiatric prodrome, language dysfunction. Teen girl is the poster child. Antibodies will take a week, Harper countered. We can't sit. Rowan watched Lila's fingers twitch in the air as if bowing nothing. Treat empirically, he said. High-dose steroids, IVIG. Start the immunologic flamethrower before her brain sets the stage on fire. Anya balked. You don't even know what she has. Yes, Rowan said gently. That's why we treat everything. The slit lamp exam came back with a cryptic note. Possible peripheral corneal pigment. Opta wanted a repeat with a calmer patient. Kaiser Fleischer? Kira said, uneasy. Or artifact? Order 24-hour urine copper, Rowan said. Ceruloplasmin. By noon, Lila spiked to 40 degrees Celsius, heart racing like applause. Her speech degraded to syllables. When they tried to place a nasogastric tube, she bit through the glove again and cried, "Don't take my hands." Rowan stepped back. The room dimmed down to problem and possibility. Sanjay, get the violin, he said. What? Chain of custody. We're sending varnish scrapings to tox. If I'm wrong, I'm eccentric. If I'm right, I'm annoying and correct, which is my brand. Security balked. Anya protested. Harper mediated. In the compromise that defines hospitals, they swabbed the fingerboard, chin rest. Varnish flakes already loose at the corners. Tox Lab shrugged. They'd try. The autoimmune blitz began. Methylprednisolone thundered through Lila's veins. IVIG dripped like viscous hope. Sedation to protect her from herself and the bitey tube. Rowan took clinic because administration demanded he pretend to be a doctor who remembers co-pays. A man with knee pain asked for opioids. Rowan offered shoes and sarcasm. A woman with fatigue wanted iron. Rowan offered sleep and a thyroid panel. He scribbled on a whiteboard. Everyone lies, then below it, smaller, including me. By evening, HSV was negative. Blood cultures no growth. MRI, repeat, unchanged. EEG. Now with intermittent rhythmic delta and short bursts that made Harper raise an eyebrow. Non-convulsive status? We can escalate. Do it, Kira said. Add benzos. Protect the cortex. Sanjay, who collected difficult truths like stamps, caught Lila's brother Marcus leaning in the hallway, hoodie up, eyes guilty. You okay? He asked. Yeah, Marcus lied. Then, quietly, she was taking something. For auditions. Everyone does. Sanjay's stomach did that subtle drop hope prefers. What? He shrugged. Nootropics. A friend sells. I don't know what it is. Beta. The bottle looked not official. Rowan stared at the ceiling tiles like they'd been conspiring. Bring me the bottle, he said. Or bring me the friend. Marcus did both. The bottle was matte black, label. Neuro Beta Enhancer Proprietary Blend. Ingredients. Latin nonsense and hubris. Rowan shook 2 capsules into a cup. They smelled faintly of bitter almonds, which is a cliché for a reason. Cyanogenic glycosides? Kira said, but lactic acid is normal. No anion gap. Toxicology will romance it, Rowan said. Meanwhile, it's still not enough to explain the movement disorder and language. The immune story fits better than Silicon Valley snake oil. Or both, Harper said. 2 things can hurt a person at once. The 24-hour urine copper came back obscene. Ceruloplasmin. Low. Slit lamp. Repeat. Calmer patient. Definite Kaiser-Fleischer reigns. Sanjay looked at the screen and then at Rowan. Wilson's. Rowan's cane stopped mid-tap. Even he sounded reverent when a rare thing arrived dressed exactly as the textbook promised. Copper overload. Hepatic and neuropsychiatric. Teenage onset. Explains transaminitis, hemolysis, behavior, dysarthria, dystonia. The music wasn't in her head. It was in her copper. Harper blew out a breath she'd been saving for months. Start chelation. Trientine or penicillamine. Zinc to block absorption. Kira frowned. Does it explain the fever and CSF lymphocytes? Wilson's patients can have aseptic meningitis, Rowan said. And steroids, IVIG, may be helping the inflammatory fallout. Or, Sanjay said, courage picking a fight with certainty. She has Wilson's and anti-NMDA encephalitis triggered by stress. Coexistence is rare, but rare's our neighborhood. Rowan eyed the team. Fine, we treat both roads. Start chelation. Continue immunotherapy until NMDA antibodies come back. And for my vanity, keep looking at the violin varnish and the brain booster. If life gives me 3 diagnoses, I'll throw a parade. He didn't get a parade. He got a seizure. At 3 a.m., Lila's monitor erupted into chaos. Tonic-clonic, desaturation, code voice. Harper was there before the page finished vibrating. Benzos, load levetiracetam, consider intubation. Rowan arrived with hair that refused to pretend he slept and a gaze that convinced oxygen to behave. When the convulsion broke, Lila lay limp, breathing like she'd been insulted by air. Anya cried the kind of cry that rearranges rooms. Rowan rested the cane against the bed and put a hand on the rails like a vow. Buy her time, he told Harper. The rest is math and patience. At dawn, Tox called. The varnish contained trace lead well within safety for casual contact. The fingerboard swab. Nothing criminal. The black bottle of neurobeta, no cyanide. Caffeine, bacopa, a sprinkle of nicotine, and a molecule that made the toxicologist sound intrigued. A manta-like analog in microdose. Legal? Unclear. Dangerous? Possibly. Not our main event, Rowan said, and pivoted back to copper. By noon, hemolysis labs worsened. Haptoglobin low, Coombs negative. Rowan traced a circle in the air with the cane. Free copper is chewing her blood. Trientine now, zinc tonight, and pray to any deity that takes consults. Anya cornered Rowan outside the room, grief clean with anger. You said it was viruses. Then autoimmune. Now metal. Do you ever know? No, Rowan said. We rule out the wrong things and treat the right ones loudly enough to drown our mistakes. Your daughter needs days. I need you to hate me later. Anya blinked, then nodded as if she'd translated him into a language a mother can use. Just fix her. That's the plan, he said. I'll get creative if she refuses. By evening, Lila's fever softened. Her tongue thrusting calmed. The eeg quieted to a sullen murmur. The team exhaled in shifts, afraid to do it all at once. Rowan sat at the nurse's station, leg up, paying a mean dog on a short leash. He paged through Lila's chart like a priest bored with sinners. In the notes, a line. Grandfather died of cirrhosis at 41. Mother's uncle similarly. He underlined it twice. Families like kindly, too. Sanjay brought takeout and guilt. We should call genetics. We did, Rowan said. They love it when we remember they exist. He flipped the chart closed and stared through the glass at a girl whose fingers twitched in quarter notes toward a future. Copper, he murmured, and something else. The something else would arrive in a week in an overnight envelope and change the shape of the triumph they thought they'd earned. But first, Lila had to wake up. On day 5, Lila opened her eyes and said, perfectly, the metronome was you. Rowan grinned. Guilty. How's your tongue? How's your brain? How many fingers am I holding up? You have one good one, she said, and Rowan decided she'd lie. Chelation continued. Zinc complained in her stomach, she complained back. Transaminases trended down. Haptoglobin crept up. The Kaiser-Fleischer rings glinted at the corneal edge like history's graffiti. Autoimmune panel remained pending. HSV negative again. Cultures yawned. The ICU weaned lines and promises. Lila asked for her violin. Harper shook her head. Hands first, she said. Music later. Anya slept in a reclining chair that had learned to make snoring a lullaby. When she woke, Rowan handed her a pamphlet titled Wilson's Disease. So your genes hate you, and watched her expression move through the Kubler-Ross of parenting. Denial, anger, bargaining, Google, acceptance. Was it my fault? She asked, because mothers invent guilt even when biology already did. It was Mendel's, Rowan said. 2 recessive genes got flirty. You couldn't have known. What you can do is let us test the family, start zinc, avoid copper-heavy foods, and keep chelation honest. This is a lifelong argument. We teach you to win it politely. Sanjay spent an afternoon with Lila talking about copper in chocolate and shellfish and how to live a life that didn't feel like a pharmacy. Lila nodded and asked if music would taste different now. Sanjay said yes, because honesty is the only placebo he believes in. On day 7, the envelope arrived. Kira opened it in the conference room with a scalpel because drama has standards. Anti-NMDA receptor antibodies, positive. Harper closed her eyes. So Sanjay was right. Coexisting. Rowan leaned back until the chair protested. 2 zebras in the same stall. Lucky us. He tapped the table. Rituximab, he said. If she wants to relapse later, fine, but today we evict rogue B cells. Harper nodded. I'll consent, Mom, they told Anya, who had run out of eyebrows to raise. So she had metal and an autoimmune attack? Two truths, Rowan said. One you inherit, one you develop because the universe likes theme. The ethics committee sent an email gently reminding Rowan he had burned through 3 expensive therapies in a week and asking for a literature justification. Rowan replied with 4 citations, 1 limerick about cost-effectiveness, and the line, "Alive is cheaper than dead." Harper edited the limerick and sent the rest. Rituximab dripped like a truce. Lila napped and woke to find words easier. Music theory snapped back into place like a rubber band tired of being stretched. She wiggled fingers. She asked for scales. Rowan held up a hand. No auditions in the ICU. She glared with a competence that felt like a future. You don't like music. I don't like the noises people make to avoid hearing themselves, he said. Different disease. Genetics confirmed biallelic mutations in ATP7B. Marcus carried 1. Anya carried 1. Family counseling sessions proliferated. The team added hepatology, ophthalmology, psychiatry, social work, and a nurse who had once played flute badly and therefore understood the grief of hands. Rowan finally went home long enough to antagonize his shower and microwave noodles he didn't deserve. On his coffee table sat a thick envelope he had mailed to himself. A copy of Lila's chart with the names stripped out, annotated for a talk he'd never give politely. He scribbled at the margin, "Copper plus NMDA equals chaos squared." Then, why fever? He underlined it and returned to the hospital because gravity. At midnight, a new fever. 39.6 degrees Celsius. Rigors. Blood pressure fine, oxygen fine, chest clear. Cultures resent. Lines checked. CXR unremarkable. UA bland. LFTs stable. CRP indolent. Not infection, Harper said, tired of being asked to pull rabbits from sterile hats. Could be post-retux infusion reaction, delayed. Or clots, Kira said. We scanned DVT, PE. Or copper redistribution, Sanjay said. Chelation can stir toxicity transiently. Rowan limped into the room and found Lila awake and furious. I want to play, she said. You want to bleed, he replied. Fever buys you a day. She stared at his cane. Does it hurt? Only when people ask about it, he said. What did you take for auditions? She looked at her mother and then away. Just tea. Tea with what? Red label. Online. Clarity. Bring me the bag, he said to Anya, who loved her daughter enough to loot her room at 2 a.m. The bag label promised nootropics and clean focus. The ingredients listed proprietary blend and lies. The hospital's LCMS found a scrap of amantadine-like compound and nicotine, enough to make a heart chatty, not enough to cause an ICU admission. Rowan tossed the report into the pile labeled "I told you so" and looked harder at the fever. Ferritin? He asked. Normal, Harper said. No HLH. Triglycerides? Also normal. Rowan. He looked at Lila's nails. Half moons blanched, then flushed. Hold chelator for a night, he said. Transfusion for anemia. Fluids. This is Copper's last party. By morning, fever relented as if the body had remembered it was busy. The team exhaled and then inhaled because that's how you earn your pay. On day 10, Lila walked across the unit with a gait that made the physical therapist cry discreetly into a progress note. On day 12, she held a rubber ball and made it confess. On day 14, they let her hold the violin. She tuned slowly. The bowhand trembled once, then steadied like a promise kept on the second try. She played a scale that made the ventilator alarm 2 rooms over briefly consider a career change. Anya cried openly. Nurses lined the doorway. Even Rowan did not leave. Don't smile, Lila whispered between arpeggios. I'm scowling, he lied convincingly. He signed the discharge papers on day 16. Chelation, zinc, outpatient retux schedule, physical therapy, psych. No magic teas. No mystery pills unless prescribed by someone who enjoys peer review. Clinic in 2 weeks. And if your hands tingle, if words get sticky, if music tastes wrong, you come back. Lila nodded. I have auditions in 3 months. Then practice health first, he said. Scales later. Anya hugged no one and then everyone. She shook Rowan's hand and said, thank you. Don't, he said. You'll make me worse. They left with a binder of instructions, a bag of meds, and a violin that looked innocent in a way only wood can. Rowan limped back to the conference room and wrote on the board, Wilson's plus anti-NMDA. Under it, if your differential has 1 diagnosis, you're writing fiction. Kira arched an eyebrow. You wrote a limerick to ethics. It's scanned, Rowan said. Barely. Harper closed the patient list. Go home, Rowan. I am home, he said, meaning the hospital, meaning the puzzle, meaning the life that had taught him both were the same muscle with different lactic acid. The day after discharge, a courier brought a small, velvet-lined box to the diagnostics department. No sender. Inside, a ring with thin copper inlay, old and humble. A note. For the man who taught us to taste the right kind of bitter. A and L. Rowan stared at the ring a long time and did not put it on. He set it on his desk where sunlight could make it a sermon. He had clinic. Life was tedious again, which is how it apologizes for terror. 2 weeks later, Lila sat in clinic holding her violin case like a baby and scowling like a teenager who is not sure whether to forgive the world. Labs improved. Copper excretion high with chelation, trending down appropriately. Transaminases polite, speech clear. The rings in her eyes remained, like scars you can brag about. How's music? Rowan asked. Sharper, she said. When it goes wrong, I feel it sooner. Is that from copper? Or antibodies? Or your personality? Yes, Rowan said. Sanjay entered with a folder and a grin he tried to hide. We got a grant, he said. Longitudinal Registry for Autoimmune Encephalitis. If you consent, we'll stock your B cells and send you postcards. Lila signed. Will it make me faster? It will make other kids luckier, he said. Harper knocked on the doorframe. Don't forget the family screening. Anya's brother. Already scheduled, Sanjay said. ATP7B mutation testing. Wilson's is a family hobby we discourage. The hospital thanked Rowan for not getting them sued, yet. The ethics board asked him to give a talk on cost-conscious excellence. He titled it, Alive is Cheaper, and Harper made him change it to Value in Complex Care. He put a slide of Lila's copper curves next to her EEG. He did not mention the ring. Kira presented at noon conference. Teenage psychosis is not always psychological. Residents stayed an extra 12 minutes past the lure of pizza. Rowan's leg hurt, as it always did when weather remembered to be honest. He swallowed a pill, argued with himself about it, swallowed another argument, and went to the balcony to watch the med-flight helicopter bully the wind. Anya found him there, hair up, kindness exhausted into clarity. I brought something. He braced for cookies, which he'd refuse because boundaries are a diet. Instead, she handed him a photo. Lila at 6, chalk dust on her nose. Violin half her size, eyes already auditioning. I kept thinking, Anya said, that if I had pushed less, she wouldn't have this. Guilt is a hobby, Rowan said. Less fulfilling than cross-stitch. You didn't give her Wilson's. You didn't give her antibodies. You gave her a target to hate for a while. That's useful. You don't have children, she said. I have residence, he deadpanned. Adoption by paperwork. She smiled despite a month that had not earned one. Thank you, she said again. He shrugged and watched the helicopter settle. Everyone lies, he said finally. Symptoms, patients, doctors. The trick is building a life where lying keeps running out of room. How do you do it? She asked. Badly, he said, and meant it without self-pity. In the weeks that followed, Lila practiced scales like prayer and chelation like a job. She sent Rowan a recording of Bach that made him consider believing in things he'd long ago pawned. He played it once and then again, cane across his lap, clinic door shut, letting the notes move the dust in his chest. The team rotated through new puzzles. A carpenter with cobalt lungs. A teacher with whispering vocal cords harboring a parasite that loved vowels more than consonants. A marathoner whose hyponatremia cover story hid grief so dense it bent telemetry. They solved 3, failed 1, learned 5. Rowan added a line to the whiteboard. We are not gods. We are persistent. On a rainy Tuesday, Kira knocked on Rowan's office door. Your limerick cracked me up, she said. Also, Lila's anti-NMDA titers are down. Copper steady. She asked if you'd sign her case. I don't do autographs, he said. She said you could write, don't be interesting. He smirked. Good phrasing. In the lobby, Lila waited with the case open. He took a Sharpie, bent to the velvet, and wrote inside the lid, play. Then rest. Then play again. He almost added, everyone lies, and decided she didn't need that yet. He watched her go. Anya waved once without dramatics. Rowan limped back to the war he loved. At the next M&M, Harper presented Lila's case. Someone in the back asked if treating both Wilson's and anti-NMDA so aggressively had been wasteful before confirmatory results. Rowan stood, pain forgotten because provocation is an anesthetic. Wasteful is letting a brain inflame while you wait for a fax, he said. Wasteful is assuming one diagnosis is noble enough to be alone. Wasteful is a funeral with good catering. We will be wrong. The cost of being right faster is that we look ridiculous on Tuesdays. I'm okay with that. Our patients' hands are for more than IV poles. Silence. Then the sound of people deciding to be braver in labs and less brave in budgets. Harper wrote a line in the minutes she'd never admit to. Rowan was inspiring. On his desk, the copper inlay ring caught afternoon and glowed like a small, stubborn sun. Rowan turned it once, then left it where it was, unpaid coffee on one side, bad pen on the other. The geography of a man who would never be cured of his work and had finally stopped pretending he wanted to be. Outside, rain taught the city tempo. Inside, a hospital kept time.